What in the world is an escrow? People ask me that all the time. Hey Barry, what is an escrow? What does that mean? Or, hey Barry, are we in escrow yet? If you're buying a home, you're going to probably hear the word escrow used in a few different contexts. In this video, I'm going to go in depth and show you exactly what an escrow is. Are you ready? Here we go. So let's look at what an escrow is and how it works, okay? Here's one definition that I found. Escrow is a legal arrangement in which a third party temporarily holds large sums of money or property until a particular condition has been met. For example, the fulfillment of a purchase agreement. In simpler terms, it's when a home buyer or a home seller reach a contractual agreement on real property, on real estate. For example, the seller puts their home on the market, a buyer sees it, loves it, makes an offer on it. The seller loves the buyer's offer, so they sign a contract. They come to a mutual agreement and sign a contract. Now that contract is then taken to what's called a neutral third party. In most places in California and in other states, typically that's a title and escrow company, and they're one and the same. Not always, but mainly yes. Once you sign a purchase agreement, whether you're the buyer or the seller of a home, and you take those documents to the title company along with the buyer's earnest money deposit, you open escrow. That's what it's called. Now what the earnest money deposit is, it's a good faith deposit by the buyer, kind of like when someone puts something on layaway. Usually it's 3% of the purchase price, but sometimes it's as little as $5,000. But this deposit shows that you're serious or earnest about purchasing the home. Now this earnest money deposit is then held in the escrow account by the title company until the escrow closes. And that amount is then generally credited to the buyer's closing costs or down payment. So now you're in escrow. Now you've heard of some of these title companies, I'm sure. There's Chicago Title, Old Republic Title, First American Title, Fidelity Title, Stewart Title. There's lots of nationally known title companies to choose from. Title and escrow really depends on what state you're in. Sometimes it's different in the southern part of California. If you go to New York, lawyers get involved in the whole process, and that's a whole nother story. We're not even going to get into that. So simply put, the escrow is the time period, the beginning and the end, and everything in between that goes on. When you, as the home buyer or the home seller, enter into this contractual agreement to buy or sell a home, and the clock starts ticking. And along the way on that timeline, there's a lot of things that need to happen. Most people don't realize there's a lot of moving parts to an escrow. A title search on the property begins to make sure that there's free and clear title on that property. The escrow company is making sure all the legal documents are in place. Also, this is the time where the lender of choice by the buyer is getting the loan ready to make sure the buyer fully qualifies for that loan amount. The lender also is most likely to order an appraisal on the property to ensure it's going to appraise for the value of the money that the lender is lending. In other words, let's say if you're going to buy a $20,000 car and you're going to finance it. The lender is not going to lend you $30,000 to buy a $20,000 car. It's the same way with a house, okay? So that lender sends an appraisal out to make sure that that property appraises at value. And there are usually inspections that are done during the escrow period. In California, the most typical is the home inspection, a comprehensive home inspection that looks at electrical, heating, cooling, plumbing, mechanical, structural, and also a pest or dry rot inspection. Now, where I sell real estate in North Monterey, it's also very common to have a well inspection and a septic inspection because we're talking about country property. So think of an escrow like a race, more like a high hurdles race, because there's usually a multitude of obstacles that you are going to encounter, all right? There may be issues with the buyer not being able to qualify. There may be issues with the appraisal on the home not coming in at value. There may be issues on the property like termites or dry rot or some serious mechanical or plumbing issue that comes up, and all these things can totally derail an escrow. Trust me, I've seen it happen. The biggest benefit of officially opening an escrow account when you buy or sell a home is that you're protected during the real estate transaction, whether you're a buyer or a seller. But remember, there are fees for all this. It's not free to open an escrow, with a title company. The escrow fee is typically split between the buyer and the seller, and then the title insurance is primarily paid for by the seller, but not always. For the buyer, the escrow account protects your earnest money deposit during the process. For example, say if you found a home and you made an offer on it, but there was a problem that was uncovered during the home inspection period. If you had given that whole bag of money to the seller, it might be difficult to get that money back, right? But when you're dealing with a neutral third party like an escrow and title company, you're totally contractually protected. And so for both the buyer and the seller, the title company's job is to protect both of you according to the contract, to do a thorough title search on the property, to protect you with title insurance, to make sure that everyone in the transaction follows the contract correctly. So what does it mean to close escrow? I mean, that's the most important part, right? Yeah, because nobody wants to open escrow but not have escrow closed. No. So here's what that usually looks like as we come down to the finish line. The lender approves the appraisal that has come in at value. The appraiser has determined if there's any health or safety issues that also have to be taken care of. Any conditions that have arisen due to the home inspections are resolved by either repairs prior to close of escrow or credit is given to the buyer instead. The loan is then fully approved by the lender and it's prepared to be funded. Loan documents are drawn up and sent to the title company. Buyers and sellers make an appointment and sign their escrow instructions, and they're showing all the various fees that are going to incur. The buyer also signs their loan documents. When all that's done, the loan is then funded. Then the escrow officer makes sure all the documents are recorded through the specific local county entity, generally the county recorder or assessor. And then we're done. Escrow has closed. Woo! The seller receives a check from the proceeds from the sale of their house, and the buyer gets the keys to their new home. Hopefully everyone survived, right? There were no fist fights. Everybody's happy. Congratulations, you have now closed escrow. If you liked my video and it was helpful for you, please click on the like button, or better yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's lots of great videos to watch there, or go to my website where you can download a free home buyer's guide or a free home seller's guide with lots of great information if you're looking to buy or sell a property. Until then, take care.